Hello, very good morning, dear students. How are you all? I hope all of you are fine and doing well. So, this is our video lecture number of subject OC, and today we are going to discuss about the formal organization and informal organization. In previous lectures, we discussed about functional organization, and before that, we discussed everything about the formal, that is the linear organization. One thing which I want to clear here is that the type of organization which we studied till the date, that is linear organization and functional organization, is a part of formal organization. So for that it is necessary to understand the formal organization structure. So let us start with the formal organization. In order, meaning first of all, in order to achieve the predefined goals, the formal structure of relationship among person and work is established, which is known as formal organization. Linear organization, functional organization are the types of formal organization. In this type of organization, the necessary powers are given to enable the person to perform certain kind of responsibilities, in which matters related to delegation of authority between superior officers are clarified. So it is the type of organizational structure. In formal organization, in order to achieve the predefined goals, the formal structure of relationship among the persons and work is established, which is known as formal organization. Any of the organization which is working for the purpose of achievement of anything, or we can say to achieve the predefined goals, that organization is the best example of formal structure of relationship. Here, in order to achieve the predefined goals, it means in any of the organization, first of all we are deciding the work to be performed and the persons are required to perform that particular task. So there should be some kind of interrelationship among that person is necessary, because without the interrelationship establishment or without distribution of authority and responsibility, it is not at all possible that all the activities will be done in a proper manner. So in order to achieve the predefined goals, it means any of the organization which is working for the achievement of a goals, the formal structure of relationship among persons and work, it means first of all there should be formal relationship between persons like superiors, subordinates, colleagues, peers, etc. Then there will be the relationship between supervisor and worker, board of directors and departmental heads, in between departmental heads, and everything is formal structure. Then the formal structure of work, that is, as we all knows that in any of the organization the total work is dependent on each other. It means they are interdependent on each other in the working area. So in that particular manner there should be some kind of formal structure will be established where the work will be done in a properly and sequential manner, so that it cannot be delayed and the orders will be fulfilled within a particular time period. So when we are establishing a formal structure of relationship among persons and work is known as formal organization. First of all, line this statement, and if it is asked in a 1 mark or a 2 mark, then you have to write this full line. Now next one is linear organization, functional organization are the types of formal organization, because here the formal organization is works on some kind of rules and regulations. So as we seen in both that kind of organization, that is in linear and functional, that there is a proper way of doing activities will be established by the board of directors or the superior authorities. So both of this is a best example of formal organization. In this type of organization, the necessary powers are given to enable the person to perform certain kind of responsibilities. As we discussed in linear organization, that the responsibility is moved from bottom to top and authority moves from top to bottom. In functional organization also, the authority moves from top to bottom. Or in any of the organization, if we want to succeed, then we have to compulsorily distribute the power and responsibility among the different levels of management. So here in formal organization also, the necessary powers are given to enable the person to perform certain kind of responsibilities, so that we can get work done from these authorities. And if we want to achieve any of the target, then it is compulsory to give them a proper power and responsibility so that they can achieve their goal, in which matters related to delegation of authority between superior officers are clarified. It means whenever in any of the organization, when we are giving necessary powers to the person to perform certain kind of responsibility, in that powers the matters related to delegation of authority between superior officers are clarified. It means how much powers each one is possessing and who gives order to whom and everything. Now, if I say it in a layman language or in a simple terms, then formal organization is a structure which is totally based on rules, regulations, principles and code of conduct. It is strictly following do's and don'ts while you are in an organization. And if any of the person is not able to follow the rules and regulations as per instructed by the organization, then they should attract some kind of penalties. And same way, if they are overperforming in their activities or there will be any kind of extraordinary performance by the person, then they will be able to get some kind of rewards also. So here clear cut definition of each and every activity, each and every task, duties, roles, interrelationship, orders, instructions, reporting, each and everything, even small matters are also included in the formal organizational structure. One of the best example, if we are seeing from a student's point of view, then school is the best example of this formal relationship, where each and every activity and job role is distributed among the persons. Like the principal sir the principal sir's responsibility is to take care of the whole school, and along with that they have to also see that all the activities are done in a properly manner, and there should be some kind of streamlining in the activities. When the supervisor, that is the teacher supervisors are there, and they have to see that whether all the lectures are taken on a timely manner, whatever taught in the class will be discussed with the supervisors and they are taking the records of all these activities. Then teachers, that is the subject teacher, their responsibility is to complete the syllabus in a timely manner and with proper understanding, so that students can understand their concepts very well and they will get a result. The assistant teachers or class teachers are helpful in these activities to subject teachers, and they are taking the records of each and every activity. So whenever we required any kind of data, that is past test data or past results or the behavior related, then it will be easily available. Here each and every person is knowing their role in the organization and they are trying to perform the activities in the best possible manner, so that the result will be successful and it will be the win-win situation from both the side, from the school side and from parent side also. So same way in an organization also there are proper understanding regarding task, roles, duties, performance, everything is pre-decided. The board of directors are responsible for taking policy decisions and planning and strategy for the whole organization. So they are on the top and supreme authority of the organization. Then next one is the middle level managers, in which different departmental heads are responsible for the working of their particular departments and the growth and success of their department. If there is any kind of lacking in the performance or deviation, then they should be penalized. And if the particular department is working very well and achieving the targets in a properly manner or in a timely manner, then they will be rewarded also. Same way the bottom level is working on the instructions of the middle level management. They have to follow the order and instruction given by the middle level manager or departmental heads for doing a particular task or activity. Then they are able to get a proper and timely wages and salaries for their activities. And if there is any kind of deviation or lacking part, then they will also attract a penalty, or sometimes if it is a disciplinary issue, then the suspension and termination may be also attracted. So basically the formal organization is a properly structured or designed organizational structure where each and every activity along with the persons and their position is well already established and properly set up, so that all the activities of the organization can be run very successfully and the achievement of pre-decided objectives will become easy. I hope with this point everything is clear in your mind. So now let us discuss about the characteristics. There are basically a very few, that is 6 characteristics are there. Now let us discuss the first characteristics, that is formal structure. The administrators form this formal structure very cautiously to achieve the desired goals. So first characteristic says that there should be a proper structure, formation of a structure where each and every activity is properly planned. Sometimes the administrator has to check that whether any of the activity is repeated or unattained. Then if it is so, then they have to, first of all, it is their priority that they have to put that activity on a place. So it is one kind of formal structure where each and everything is designed very properly, where from the work assignment to responsibility and reporting, everything is clear. So this formal structure will be designed very cautiously, because if there is any of the lacking part while we are designing the formal structure, then either the goal achievement will become delayed or will lose somewhere, and we are not able to achieve the predefined goal in a timely manner. So formal structure is compulsory for formal organization. Now the second characteristic is lacking flexibility. In this kind of structure, the place assigned to the employees are non-changeable or non-alterable. Seldom can there be change once the position is assigned. So it is one of the limitation of this kind of organizational structure is that lacking flexibility. Here in characteristics we are discussing both the limitations and the advantages. So here the second point, that is lacking flexibility, is one of the limitation of this structure. In this kind of structure, the place assigned to the employees are non-changeable or non-alterable. It means, first of all, at the time of formulation of organizational structure, first of all, each and every position is decided, and then according to that position, we are appointing different experts from different areas in that particular place. Now, there will be a proper sequence, or the activities are there which are done or performing in a sequential manner only. So if once any of the person is assigned to a particular position or a post, there is no chance of any of the changes in that particular activity or in that particular position. We can say that if Mr. X is once placed at the production department as a production officer, then there is not at all chance that he will be transferred to some other department or someone else will take his position, because everything is decided and it is putted in a properly manner so that there is no chance of changes. And that's why it's lacking flexibility, because you can't do anything when the formal organizational structure is once designed. So here what we can do is that we have to perform the duty anyhow. Seldom can there be change once the position is assigned. It is the exceptional case, or we can say in any of the emergencies, there is a very few chances or seldom chances that there can be change once the position is assigned. Because if we change the position or if we change the person, then it will result into chaos. There is a proper chain or proper link of command and instruction and order and direction is very well assigned at the time of assignment of responsibilities and authorities. And if we change the position with someone else, then the new person will take more time to understand this particular system when he is transferred to any of the new department or a new position, and the older one is also struggling in his new post. And sometimes it may happen that during this transmission the organization will lost its charm, because the people are not able to understand the new person very easily, and also there are some of the chances that they have to take a training to be placed in a new position. So it lacking flexibility, and yes, it is also obvious that once the relationship is established, you cannot outperform or neglect that relationship, and you have to compulsorily inform or reporting to the person who is assigned for you, or we can say that you have to or give instruction or reporting to the immediate supervisor and not anyone else. So you cannot change the frequency or cannot change the sequence once it is properly designed. Now the third characteristic is delegation of power from upper to bottom level or upper to lower level. The delegation of power is done by superior officer and flows from upper level to lower level. As it is seen in linear organization also, that the board of directors are having the highest authority in the organization, and according to the need and requirement they are delegating a power to middle level and bottom level. So the delegation of power is done by superior officers. It means board of directors, general manager, chief executive officer or managing director, and it flows, that is the power is flows from upper level to lower level via medium level, that is middle level. Fourth one is a large size. Obviously the formal organization is bestly used in a organization whose structure comprise of large size. It means there are minimum 500, 1000, 5000 or 10,000 employees should be there, so that we can divide each and every activity according to division of work. If very less or few people are there, like if 20% are working in a organization, then this kind of formal structure is not possible at all, because if we assign the duties, then they will not be able to help each other and the total work will be suffer, because there are very less or very few people are there in the organization. So if we want to implement this formal organizational structure, the organization should comprise of a large size. Fifth point is a particular relations. Due to methodically planned formal structure, the relations among the employees are particularly formed. This is at one instance it is advantage and on another it is disadvantage, because here methodically planned formal structure. So if it is in a linear organization, we are dividing the activities on the basis of division, and each and every division is responsible to work according to the formal structure. So here methodically planned formal structure is there. Each and every positions and their interrelationship is already established and mentioned, and the relations among the employees are particularly formed, that who will give instruction to whom, who will give orders, who will give direction, who will submit the reports, who will submit the work, etc. is already formed. So there is proper understanding of a particular relation should be there. And as we seen in the process of organization structure, that the properly planned or formed organizational structure chart should be placed on the notice board. So each and every person will easily understand his position. He will able to understand who is his superior, who is his subordinates, so etc. etc. So here, as methodically planned formal structure, the relation among the employees are particularly formed and decided or designed very well in advance. Sixth one is a communication. Communication is done only through a formal method. The informal communication has no place over here. It is one of the most important element or characteristics of formal structure. When once you design each and every activity, task, work and duties in a properly manner, now there should be a proper link of channel of communication. It means each and everything is very well decided. Let us take again the example of school. If any of the teacher is facing any difficulty during in a classroom regarding homework or test or misbehavior, then he should report to his immediate supervisor and not directly to the principal sir. Now the immediate supervisor will understand the situation and understand what is going on in the organization, and he or she will try to solve the problem by themselves. But if the problem is not solved, then and then they can move to the principal sir. But in any of the case, whether it is emergency or not, the teacher cannot break the link and cannot call directly to the principal sir for this particular activity. Here in organization also, the communication is done only through a formal method. It means the top level can give instruction and order to middle level only and to particular departments. Now it is the responsibility of the middle level to give that instruction to the bottom level as per requirement, and then they are giving the instruction to the bottom level. So here it is the authority. That's why sometimes it may happen that top level directly give order and instruction to bottom level. But when it is about the responsibility, or we can say reporting or work submission, then compulsorily they have to follow the formal structure. For any of the problems or challenges faced by the workers and employees, first of all they have to consult the middle level officers or their departmental heads for a particular problem or the challenges. Then the middle level manager will filter all the information and he will pass this information to the top level management, and they will take the decision. So here also the bottom level manager cannot break the chain, and that's why communication is done only through a formal method. And the informal communication, it means whether the manager is my friend or not. Sometimes it may happen that in organization the person who is seated in the top level is a friend or relative of an employee or a worker. Then also that particular employee or worker has to follow a formal communication structure and cannot outperform or break the chain and talk directly to the board of directors, because it is the communication, or we can say the formal communication, on which the total formal organization is based. If the person talk directly to the director as a relative or as a friend, then it is the informal relationship and it is informal communication, and there is no place of informal communication in formal organization. So we should follow a proper chain of communication. With this point, it is the end of this particular structure, that is formal structure, in which first of all we discuss about the meaning, that is given in a 2 line, that in order to achieve the predefined goals, the formal structure of relationship among the person and work is established, which is known as formal organization. Then we move towards the characteristics, that is first one is a formal structure, second one is a lacking flexibility, is limitation also, third delegation of power from upper to lower level, then larger size, then particular relation, and lastly communication. Now let us move towards the fourth type of organization, that is informal organization. Informal organization, first of all, meaning. Informal organization is the formation of internal relations formed on its own in order to provide contribution to some result achievements, formed without any formal planning. These 2 lines says a lot about the informal organization. It is the formation of internal relation formed on its own in order to provide contribution to some result achievements, formed without any formal planning. The relations are developed among the people working inevitably together. Such relations develop and flourish on informal grounds. Such relations are not formally founded, hence no formal or proper chart can be prepared for the same. It can be considered as a shadow of formal structure of organization. It can be considered a subordinate structure to formal one. So informal organization is a formation of internal relations formed on its own in order to provide contribution to some result achievements, formed without any formal planning. It is but obvious that in any of the organization, whether it is a corporate body or non-corporate body, there is some kind of informal relations are always there, because all those people who are inevitably work together, they have to form some kind of informal relations where the another person will give him benefit or get a benefit by the way of performing some of the task on behalf of each other, and by this way the informal relations are always there. In any of the organization we are seeing that, as we are seeing in the movies or in storybooks also, that some of the persons who are work together become a good friends, and sometimes they become a friends for a lifetime. So when they are unknown to each other, there is no relation between them. Like two persons, Mr. Naresh and Mr. Suresh, who are working in a XYZ organization. They are, amongst them the Naresh is transferred from another branch to this branch in which the Suresh is already working. After they get into touch with each other and they knows that their likes, dislikes and habits all are matching with each other, and they become a good friends. Now formally they are colleagues because they are working in the same office and they are of the same position. That's why they are peers or colleagues of each other. But informally, that is outside the organization, they are friends. And sometimes it may happen that this friendship is also helpful in working in the organization. So now it happens that whenever Suresh find any of the difficulty in task or any of the problem in his duty, then he will ask Mr. Naresh to help him. And same way, whenever Naresh is feeling stress on his work or find it difficult to complete the task or perform the activity, then he asks Suresh to help. So it is informal relation because formally they are not attached with each other in a manner that they are behaving. But informally they are friends, and that's why they are helping each other. So here in informal organization there is no proper formal structure is designed, so that we cannot formulate any of the chart for this informal organization, and it is done without the help of any of the rules, regulations, code of conduct or anything. We'll discuss more about this informal organization in a very detail, like meaning of informal organization, and there are 8 characteristics are there about this informal organization in very next lecture. Today's task for you is to complete the formal organization with its meaning and characteristics in concept book or in fair book. Thank you very much, class.